All right, everybody. Good morning. I see the red bar sliding, so we should be good sound wise. A little bit low, but I think we're good. No coffee. Yeah, we don't have coffee yet. Beer. I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? A little bit early on the East Coast. Good. Thank you, Will. All right, guys. So Monday. I can't believe it's already like this is like the last week of August. It's crazy, crazy. But no, even more important is I have 6 days till my birthday. Now I decided this year that I wanted to be like 30 or 35 again. I'm not sure which one. I'm just gonna go backwards, I think. But yeah, my birthday's on the 30th. Can't believe it. It's like already here. Oh, crazy. All right, so basically there's been one story in the last 24 hours. Oh, and I'm just gonna give you guys a forewarning too. We may have a visitor come in probably like a half hour, 45 minutes. Um, Melissa's actually she used to go over into the office today for a bit, so Jen may be joining us. We'll see if she can sleep by herself for the next hour. Melissa's not going yet, but yeah. So you may hear a little voice, yelling "Dada, Dada" as she runs into the other room to climb in my lap and go back to sleep. Just FYI. So if you hear a little voice, there's not little children trading for me. There's just a little child that wants to sleep. So story in the last 24 hours has basically been just slight dollar weakness. You're seeing it across all the pairs right now. Pound dollar, euro dollar, dollar yen, dollar Swiss, and dollar CAD. A little bit farther down, right? But it's not like there's been anything like too catastrophic, I would say. Aussie dollar up a bit too. Euro pound basically shows that we're more or less flat, and then obviously the pound yen is basically the yen story. I really hate summer birthday people. No, summer birthdays suck. There's no because like growing up, I never got to have a birthday in school because it was always before. Like going to college, my birthday was before my first day of college, so it was a wonderful way to start. My college. It should have foreshadowed what my college career was going to look like. At least the first couple of years that I was like, extremely hungover, probably still slightly drunk. On my first day of college. Great way to start it off, right? Yeah, yeah. My soon to be fraternity brothers and everything were like, let's go drinking. It's your birthday. I'm like, but I start school tomorrow. Don't tell my mom. Yeah, it didn't. The first year was not the best of years. A lot of fun, but not the best academically. All right. So as far as news goes today, hold on. Let me switch this back. All there we go. So nothing going on today. Tomorrow morning early, we still don't really have a whole lot. So this week again, being the last week of August, it typically is not action packed. There is a lot more though later in the week, as you can see. Thursday, Friday are kind of chock full of news releases. There are a lot of speeches this week, and one big thing. And again, I ended up messing it up last night. I was trying to update the newsletter as far as like the upcoming kind of like the highlights, like the summary of the week. And when I ended up hitting save, and I don't know, for some reason, like it blinked out everything, and I couldn't get it to restore. So I had to start like rebuilding it again. So you newsletter people, the summary, everything else is there except the summary. I got to get that fixed up today. But Jackson Hole is later on this week, and that's always a big economic kind of. Really, it's kind of like a media frenzy with what comes out of it, and that's late in the week. So, beginning of the week is kind of preparing for that, and like I said, we're kind of in the election kind of not news cycle, but we're going to start hearing more and more about what plans look like and everything. So, it's going to start getting a little bit funky. I guess I don't know. There's a lot of things to go back and forth as far as that goes already, but it'll get crazier. So, one of the couple. Here's something though that I do want to point out. You see some people talking about the U.S.-China trade deal, right? How China is boosting North American crude and agricultural products. For the most part, right? For the most part, this is just kind of pandering. Why there won't be a U.S.-China war? Yeah, probably not, right? U.S.-China trade war. Is Trump bluffing about starting a financial war with China? I mean, a lot of this too right now is going to be political posturing. About that kind of, and again, most people feel that there needs to be a hard, stance taken on China. But the fact that this morning that 3 of the top 5 stories are, basically U.S.-China trade war, yada 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 yada. That's why you're seeing this, right, in the dollar Swiss. Okay, finger poking makes the Swiss get stronger. All right. It's just there's no other ways to look at it. And again, that's probably where all the dollar weakness is coming from. But, does he really want to start a trade war? Probably not. Like a true, financial war? Probably not. I mean, there's really no winner in that situation. Um, if anything, it is probably more of the political pandering at this point, just trying to rally his base. Again, a lot of people are in that belief again that we need to be strong against China, and most of the world is too. It's not just the United States. Most of the world is as well. It just there's very few economies that can actually stand up to China. Um, so um, this one, the strategies to predict the presidential election. So all right, with that said, let's go right down to scanner mode because scanner mode today is you know, somewhat. I don't know. I would say somewhat telling, right? So in looking across things, you can basically see in the last 4 hours, really since the UK market opened, starting on the left side today. I know I'm going to throw you guys off because we typically start on the right, but starting on the left hand side, you can see again when dollar is in the second pair, everything is kind of going straight up, right? And it's confirmed in a 4 hour 35. On the other side, when it is in the front, that's where we see the switch and it's going back to the downside. Again, this is that confirmation of dollar weakness. Looking across the board, though, there's really nothing else out there. Maybe the euro. I mean, the euro, for the most part, except versus the Aussie and the New Zealand, for the most part, it is positive. But again, the CAD basket is kind of scattered all over the place. It's kind of a mix. Aussie is kind of split again between the dollar and the New Zealand. And then the pound is also split. So what it's showing me is there's really not a whole lot of strength out there. About the only thing we have is dollar weakness. Now, dollar weakness can change very, very quickly. Again, that could be a 10 o'clock this morning type reversal. There are benefits to a weak dollar. There are benefits to a strong dollar. All right, so both sides actually make a lot of sense. People forget that Trump spent some time involved with W. Oh yeah, I know exactly, right? Yeah, I mean he's a reality star, right? He's had many reality programs. He's he's definitely very familiar with that kind of stuff, right? So he's not dumb. Everything that he does is done for a reason, right? I can't say that from the other guy. I feel like the other guy just, I don't know. I think he says things because people tell him to say it, but they're not like okay, we're going to say this to get this reaction. I feel like Trump's side looks and says, okay, this is what we want to happen, so this is what you need to say, right? It's a little bit more of a reactionary, it's more of a manipulative statement than it is the other side. So, but back to that again. This is again when the dollar is the only thing that's really kind of forcing content one way or the other. News wise, that typically leads us up to kind of a reversal because people see it, people react to it, they hear it, they're like, yep, got to do that. That's what all the big guys are doing, sure. And then that's where it reverses back on them. So, timing will probably be an important factor today for lack of any, again, real news. Again, tomorrow there is some, a few things that are small that definitely could run away. And we will mention them again tomorrow, but that consumer confidence number is always pretty important, 2 days without any major, extreme high impact news really means that people have nothing to look out for, right? There's nothing there, right? The only thing that we can grasp onto is what the media is like spinning and what they're saying, or what somebody tweets, or what somebody says, or this policy or this editorial. None of it is really concrete, though. That's what I'm saying with it. The markets are going to kind of be a little bit funky, and they may be a little bit slow, at least till Wednesday, until we get that preliminary GDP, that quarter over quarter. And again, that quarter over quarter is just a crazy number because again, we're in the middle of COVID. 1 quarter ago. So, is it the most accurate? Does it really tell us a whole lot? Not really. Not when we have month over month, right? And that's we've had that data. All right. So again, basically dollar weakness story today. Look for that to reverse at some point though, because all the outlets are going to be talking about how, hey, dollar weakness, dollar weakness, dollar weakness, and then everybody like, oh, we should be shorting the dollar, okay, and then it'll reverse. All right. So let's go across and go right into chart mode today. All right. So here's where we are right now. And this is one of those ones that has been kind of moving. It's a position that we had last week that we were looking to get short on. We mentioned, hey, listen, if we can get up there, it'd be great. It's a little bit early for this reversal. I was kind of hoping that this would be a 10 o'clock play, and there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, if it's at a zone right now that the indicator drew, right? But the original zone, we could have actually shortened this up a little bit and taken it up into this area, okay? So kind of one of those ones, it's like, there's like two zones in here. And again, I shortened this on the 30. The 60 is where we originally, had to draw the whole thing. You can see the whole box the red box is filling in the whole area. The 30 is kind of where I just refined it. And again, there's a small one there. So ideally, I really wanted to take this one at 10 o'clock this morning. I thought this would be the absolute kind of like best reversal play. If you were long, now would have also been the time to get out, right? Here's where the open happens Sunday. Um, and it's funny. This is another one of the Sunday night gap stories, and I think I forgot to put this one on there. Again, I was doing something and I got distracted and I forgot. By the time I went and laid down and came back, I was like, oh, I forgot to put that on. This was a long entry off of kind of where we were last night, right? It gapped right into a 30-minute zone, bottom of the curve, looking to go long, and boom, all the way back up again. So, this is one of those ones. It's like, yeah, you know, should have got that one. There's other guys. Again, I got distracted last night with the little one. And again, you are out of that position now that long. So, question is, do we take it this morning or not? It's there. Again, on a conservative front, I would probably wait till we get to the yellow box. On a more aggressive front, 7203 would have been fine to take it. It does set us up for kind of an interesting kind of early morning. There may be, I mean, you could potentially take kind of like an 8 to 10 binary in this one, but the problem is there's not really like a major catalyst minus the open that really can push this back to the downside. So it's probably going to be a little bit more slower of a grind. So we need to be a little bit more cautious with anything out of the money. It's very, very small risk. I mean, we're not talking about anything crazy. I mean, this is about 8 pips is the yellow. The entire zone is about 11. So neither one of the two is very, very big. I think either one of them is okay. And again, because it's one level stacked on top of another, we should be okay. But again, 1 hour from now, a lot can happen. And, again, there could be that initial surge that pushes his jaw through the top side. And that's kind of the problem. I mean, if it turns at this first one, like the aggressive one, it's kind of like, oh, that's what we wanted to do. And it's going to leave without us, So I'm kind of hoping that for the next at least hour, we kind of push just a little bit, just grind just a bit higher. But again, maybe one of those ones that's worth the extra 3 pips just to make sure that we get entry to take this back to the downside. And the 1 to 3 right now, I'm happy with that location. Obviously, there's a little bit of a hiccup right here, but if I do think, if it starts flipping over and rolling, I think we'll be okay there. The 1 to 5 is probably a little bit deep. There's a couple levels it would really, again, this level right in here, it would need to chunk through. So I'm kind of a bit more leery about holding it to 1 to 5, but 1 to 3, I have absolutely no problems taking that to the downside. Okay. Now, Aussie yen. Aussie yen is kind of in a similar situation. Again, we gap just below that area, and actually should delete. There we go. To the top side, we do have one zone here. Now, there's a wick over wick that got entered. I know we marked this one off last week as well, and we talked about how really the zone was kind of in here is really what the zone was. Now, this one is also set up for a bit more of a reversal. Being the yen, this is more exposed to the overall, U.S. indices. So again, kind of the same setup, just a little bit more of a rally higher, and then again, we roll and flip back to the downside. It's not ideal in the fact that it's not at the very, very top of the curve, but it is a level that has been tested, and again, it had a pretty nice reaction off of there. So I would say that there is probably some type of an opportunity here. Now, if this one bursts through the top, again, I would not use a Harry Potter for this one. We don't really kind of have enough room. I'd be waiting till we get back up to this 76.58. That was that zone that we had marked early last week that triggered a few different times here. Actually, 2 weeks ago, right? It triggered, came back, and then we, kind of opened and reestablished, then popped into it again, and then collapsed again. So it's been a nice level to the downside. I think this one, it's probably worth one more hit, the 76.58, if we're able to bump through this one. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's good. Yeah. I mean, any money coming in is good, just as long as you weren't risking like, $80 to make that or $70 to make that, right? But yeah, that was a valid entry, basically off the open. Yeah, it's something that should have went out there. And I realized last night when I was finally, had the girl on me, like almost asleep, I was like, you know what? I don't think I don't think I wrote it down. It was one of those things. It was a long weekend. I was you guys will laugh at this. I give a lot of credit. So like I can't say that I'm a very like blue collar person. Like I have not had many jobs that are like, manual labor based jobs. I've been I guess kind of lucky that way. Even like as a kid, right? I think like my biggest manual labor was I was a lifeguard, just sitting in the sun baking. I haven't done a whole lot of that. So like I'm not like toughened and grizzled. So my uncle came down to help me turn the basement into the boys' room, and we've been building, building a wall, and we hung drywall this weekend. I got to say, I don't know if it's the standing on the concrete or what it is. Like my whole body is like so sore from hanging drywall. I have so much respect. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, the guys that do this will hang like 30 sheets in an hour, and it's like unbelievable. They wear stilts, they run around, they hold it up with their heads. I'm like, yeah, I could not do that. So if any of you have ever hung drywall out there, big props to you guys. Big props. Old age. Yeah, it's probably old age too, Ernest. But even like, it just, oh, It's like I can play a lacrosse game. I can get banged around and I'm not this sore. Like my whole body is sore. I'm like, my God, what did I do? Anyway, guys, I think we're good here for a short. Like I said, this one is lining up a bit better for me. The Aussie is probably going to hit a little bit early for us, but again, this could be a 10 o'clock reversal, which would be good with the yen involved. Now, Euro yen is also in kind of a similar situation. This one is more retracing this parabolic move to the downside. It did kind of turn a little bit short. I was hoping we'd get into the green level, and it turned and it kind of bounced higher. But as you can see, it is retracing up, and it has kind of gotten a similar setup, right? Similar setup to where right here, if we pull up, and again, in the next hour and a half, 2 hours, we can pull up, that would be a nice little yen reversal. Again, the euro will be out, the yen will be in, right? We can, I'll leave that there for tomorrow. Actually, we already did that. Yeah, we'll pull that one out. So again, no, this is more of an intraday target. This one's got a lot of stuff it's got to chunk through to get back up to that 26.36. We got one level here, and again, nice push off of this one. This one, it's there, but I would say that is more of a retest of this level. And again, there's level, 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 level. So if we get up in that range, it's going to have to chunk through a lot to really be able to get through. You're definitely going to need some European strength on that one. I just don't know if there's going to be enough there without that reversing. And I think this is a valid setup this morning. I mean, again, the risk on this one is about 11, 12. Rather small, but again, it is perfectly timed with, reversals, right? I mean, it could go higher, and I would be okay with that. I'd be willing for that one to come all the way back up. I'd be happy with a short up here again. I think that'd be a really, again, we had a great kind of run last time off of that one. I think, next time I think is as good, but, small intraday short here. Pound yen, this was a bit different. So again, we ended up hitting some levels up top at 39.80. This one is pushed all the way down. You can see that this one really kind of chopped through, right? We hit deeply again. We went through again, and it's kind of been up and down through that zone. There's not much we can do with it just because it wasn't a clean kind of spring through. But if anything, right now, I'd be looking for, kind of minor retraces. I would say that there's probably an intraday trade sitting somewhere in here, right? And it's kind of the same idea. We get a little bit more push up and, a little bit more weakness in the yen. It hits that thing and then turns and rolls back to the downside. Again, middle of the curve, not ideal. I would say if anything in here, I'm looking for 139.80 up top. Again, we saw that's the, again, upper end of the curve, big collapse down, and then 138.22 on the downside. Would really be long and shorts on this one. Now this guy, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but the ATR on this one is it's getting lower than it was before. Now we're back at 102, right? So I mean, we are really, really. I mean, the consolidation on this one has just been absolutely crazy. It's really been kind of limiting what we can trade. There we go. Actually, it was a 30-minute. Yeah, 30-minute one. So yeah, it's. I hate when it does this because then all of a sudden it's going to have a couple days where it'll be like back up in the 150s again. And again, we ideally want this one higher low, but I think this zone here is probably what we're looking for. It depends on when it can get there. And like I said, if this is like a 2 o'clock in the afternoon thing, may not be as interested. But like I said, I think it's a valid area. I like the drop. I like I like the candle formation, how the green candle formed. And then I like the reaction out of it. It was basically, 2, 3 candles down with very little wick on the bottom. So, think that's a good entry. Y'all are laughing at me. It's so funny. Debbie laughed at me first and then put her ticket in. So maybe I'll back Debbie's ticket out because she wins too. All right, pound dollar. All right, so pound dollar. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on with this guy. So we've literally been, let's see, let's pull some of this off so we can see it a little bit better here. Pull this, pull this. Actually, wait, was that oh yeah, we can pull this. Fine. All right. So this one has literally been a wave back and forth, right? So this was an area where we had a lot of kind of sideways movement. And those are the two red lines I just kind of went off of, right? Popped all the way up, boom, came all the way back down to that same level. Ended up rallying all the way back up again, getting an entry back in that same level, and boom, dropping back down again. So right now, again, it looks like it wants to continue to push to the top side. There's not a lot, at least on an hourly, and even on the 30-minute. I wouldn't say that there's a lot of levels in here where you're like, hey, what's going on here, right? What's up with this, right? So I do think that this one probably, I'm a bit more bullish on this one today. Again, we'll see what that kind of dollar rollover looks like. But I would say, I mean, really, probably hourly is better. I guess we could use that one. I guess that's not bad. I'd want to see what we look like when we get up to this range, up to this area, right? But 132.41 would be kind of the aggressive, a little bit more aggressive entry into this short. And I think it's a valid area where we've shorted. I mean, two really nice reactions off of that same zone. And again, the bottom zone is held pretty firm. So looks like we could have a grinder. Again, there's a small level in here for some type of a reversal in the dollar. I'd be kind of surprised if it rotated off that one. It shouldn't, but there is a wick over, wick above. So, and there's probably some type of a pullback, but I do think this one should be good for grinding. Now, as far as this one goes, this week right now, hold on, let me bring it across for you guys. Done, pound in. This is what we got for the pound this week, right? As you guys saw the last couple weeks when we had really no European news at all, the euro was able to gain strength back because there was a lot of pound news. Like, no news is good news. The only thing we really have here is, the Jackson Hole stuff, and then, 9 o'clock in the morning, Bailey speaks on Friday. So it's not like the pound can really, cause issues with itself. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things that I'm kind of keeping on my radar saying, hey, listen, there's nothing really to stop this. This will be a dollar play this week, which means any type of dollar weakness in here, we can expect the pound to grind. Now, again, eventually the strong dollar will come back into the situation, into the story. So again, we do have to look for reversals. But I would say, again, this is a minor level. We should be able to burst through that one. Again, it's pulling back right now. But again, giving us a little bit push higher and 132.41-ish area. Again, that's off of the hourly. I'd be looking to take this one short. Completing this kind of retracement here. Okay. Now, euro pound is basically just flat. Again, here's this small zone that we've been in. We marked it off last week, this 90.32. It's slightly below that right now. And I would say this one is more consolidated in. There's not a lot of European news this week either, but it is an area where, again, we marked it off last week saying it had a good drop through that level. It did form a base below, though, and that's kind of the problem, that we had this nice kind of drop down into this level of basing, and then it popped out of it. It's kind of like, ugh. So there's some bias here, and unfortunately that range is only about 17 pips. I do think if this is able to roll over and the pound strength is able to come back in, I do think that there's an area here where we'd be looking for, oops, not that. I do think there's a level in here that we could kind of overcome. Not green, where is it? Somewhere along there. I do think there is a drop. I like this long at 89.51. Right now, unfortunately, neither of these two has much, right? Neither of these two has much. Here, I'll bring this in. So when I add, so this is funny. When I add Europe into this and hit apply, it's the exact same thing. There's nothing. So unfortunately, neither of these two are, news-packed events this week. But yeah, I would say a bit negative. If we can chunk through this level, again, there's a short in here somewhere, and dropping it down. It's probably going to be more of a tomorrow thing. All right. So not much we can do with it today. Euro dollar. All right, let's bring this back down. All right, so euro dollar. You can see right now we are kind of in an area where we have it marked off. I don't know if it was a 4-hour. It's probably a 30-minute. Yeah, it's a 30-minute wick over wick, and that's kind of what we're running into right now. Here, I'll bring this across right there. So you can see a little bit of a hiccup. I mean, it hit it, it pulled back, it kind of hit it again and kind of based and pulled back. So it's offering us some resistance right now. I wouldn't say that this is where we need to get short. I think there is a short in this one as well when we get a bit higher. There's another wick over wick sitting right here, which is actually is pretty decent, right there. And I think this is one that, being a bit higher up, I think it's probably a bit better. And again, it's coinciding with this kind of pullback. I don't really like this pullback. The red candle is way too high reaching for this zone. So, it's not really the ideal setup as far as kind of these middle of the road things. I love the ones at top, right? I think the top ones are great, but, to get up top, it's about 100 pips. It's not doing 100 pips today unless something like catastrophic happens. It's kind of looking for more of a short-term thing in here. Now, this zone looks like it wants to fail. If we push the last, I don't know, what is this, 20 pips higher, I would probably be okay taking a reversal off of this level. At, again, 10, form this around that 10 o'clock time frame. I don't think that's bad if we're able to punch higher. Right now, I mean, again, if it does that's kind of slow climb with very small red bodies, I'm okay with where that 1 to 3 is. I think that 1 to 3 is in a good position. The 1 to 5 is probably okay as well. I mean, this is a double bottom kind of base right here. So, that mirror wick. So I'm not really, I don't think that's necessarily horrible to kind of turn and roll. Like I said, I'd like for it to get a bit higher at this point. Again, this is the first one. U.S. market's not open. A lot of stuff going. We need that kind of fight back and forth again to really help turn this around because, again, in the European session, they want weak dollar, and that's what they've been doing. They've been forcing the weak dollar. For there to be an imbalance, they need someone to fight, which, again, the U.S. traders are just coming online. All right, so for me, I'm going to be looking, set an alarm and come back and check this one out. 118.65 is probably not a bad area to start shorting. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is inside of a level now. Again, we talked about this one kind of grinding down and, what the reaction would be. And it did. It came back up. It grabbed the levels that we talked about, grinded all the way down over the week and weekend, forced down, and now just popping. So dollar CAD is one of those ones that I'm just not sold in this that we're going to take a big bounce right now. I feel like with economies coming back online, I feel like any commodity-based currency is going to be a little bit better off right now. If you look at a 4-hour, we have levels, but they're down here, right? We have levels that are sitting all the way down here, right? At 130.67. For me, I think that's a better place to get in. It's a little bit farther of a curve extension to the downside. And again, we pushed into the zone pretty deeply, so I don't really know. I just don't feel like this one is going to necessarily be the turning point, right? I think we need to go down to something that's been untested, that hasn't been, prices already hit the zone first, or already once, and then it pushed all the way deep into it again. So how many buyers can we still have sitting down here in this level, right? You guys can see here is where the initial push was, and again, not the best candle formation, right? Not the cleanest candle formation as far as what we want to draw a zone on. And then same thing, it drove all the way down to here, right? So, I would have to say for me, I'm bearish this position. Again, we've been talking about dollar strength coming in, but I just feel like even with dollar strength coming in, I feel like the CAD has more of a potential to stay strong with economies opening back up and with it being a commodity slash, export based nation. I just feel like I feel like it could benefit more than what the dollar can in early morning. That doesn't mean we won't have a pullback of some sort. Unfortunately, there's not really levels. This level here is all right. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it has been tested. It's all right. It's about the best pullback level that I can see on there. None of the other ones, I'm not really interested in anything else in here. That's about the only level I am interested. Ideally, though, I would like it to come back up to this kind of upper end of the curve. But again, there's a short play in here. Again, depending on what time of day it hits. All right. So not as lovely about the dollar CAD. Dollar yen. Yeah, this one's just boring. All right. 106.0. Again, same thing as last week. The 106.08 and the 105.25 are the two levels that I'm looking for. This turn here, guys, again, we talked about this level last week that we had those ascending wicks. We expected something to bounce off of this, and it did. It turned and rallied back up again. Right now, though, we are sideways. Again, we are kind of boxed in between really this area right here, right? This is the bottom side again. Whenever we get low, we come back up again, right? So we kind of formed it high, kind of pushed low, went right back up, grabbed more orders in here, and then pushed back down, and we're stuck at that same level. So, this one for me right now is pretty boring. The ATR on this one is dropped down to 61 pips. So look, I mean, we're almost back. Whoops, not that one. Here. This one here, it's not quite at its low, but it's starting to really kind of get down there. Now, the 106, the 130.67. Oh, hold on. Something. Hold on. Where the heck did it go? Where the heck did my dollar yen go? That's weird. Huh. Guess I'm going to have to create another one. I lost my dollar yen. Hold on. This is why having templates, guys, is so great. All right. Anyway, same idea. Hold on. Let me put these up real quick. Restore the charts. Don't know where it went, but that's not the end of the world. That's a cat. It's like, what the hell is that noise? I think either of those two is good. But again, the ATR, bringing this back up to a daily level, you can see the ATR is rather low down here. It's not as low as it can go. I mean, again, it can go into the mid 50s, but that's what it looks like it wants to do. So, you know, I think anything lower, it would be important. Again, this is a better low, but right now with the consolidation that we've seen, I think, down in this, 105 area is probably, you know, probably, probably our best option for an entry, right? I mean, I could bring it down actually a little bit lower. 522. Let's see here. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's a little bit lower in the zone. So, 106.08 and 105.22, I think, are the two that would probably be the best options for us. There will be short-term targets, short-term targets in here, but again, like I said, you're stuck in this right now to the top side, and at the same time, you have this level right here that you're stuck in. So, this area right now is only about 15 pips. Based off any level of decent, risk that we're going to have in there, there's just not enough movement right now until we clear one of those two sides. So, that's kind of what we're looking for on this. Back to here. All right, so let's go into NQ. So last week I mentioned before that if we had good news on Friday, expect all-time highs in this one. Again, it would continue to push higher. There's no reason why it wouldn't. Okay, and the question was where should we get entries in? And we marked off this yellow area, and that's where the yellow area bounced, and that was the pullback, right? So we're sitting here right now at 8 on Friday. We were sitting again right at the same level, right? We were kind of entering the area. That was the long for the day, right? That was the long. Right now, it's kind of the same thing. We really don't have anything else that we can do in here. Again, barring any really, really bad news, but right now it's continuing to push higher. So, could we have a pullback? Sure, but kind of the same way that we formed all these tops and got all these entries over here, we kind of need to do the same thing. Again, here is that pullback zone that we were looking for last week, and we said, hey, listen, here's a pullback op. We could have it. If we break it, yes, it's worth a short, but most likely if it's good data, it's going to go higher. And that's exactly what it did. It pulled higher. If we get the failure to go higher top in, again, that will give us another area. But right now, there's really not a whole lot we can do to this one. With no news today, again, I don't see too much that can really screw this up. But again, it'll be in media, so it's not like it's a fundamental change in what this market can do. But again, I see this one going higher. We can eventually get short for kind of an intraday play, but I just don't see anything in there. I guess the biggest things that are hurting this market right now are any talks about kind of the new stimulus plan. Like I guess one of the presidential candidates made a comment about how if it's when I take office in January, if it's still here, we're going to shut down the economy again, which is like, oh, really, really. um, Talk about that. It's about the only thing that's going to slow this thing down right now, right? Yeah, we're just going to continue to see it going higher. So not much we can do in NQ except, again, look for decent, clean pullbacks. We don't have any. There's none of them that look like this right now for a top or a bottom. All right. So unfortunately, it's going to be kind of a small time frame thing there, right? Let's see. Is there anything on 30? No, not yet. We need the U.S. market open. We need to form a level. All right. S&P. So S&P, again, very, very similar. It is above. So, oh, hello. I'm just going to say this. My daughter is not a morning person. So kind of the same idea. As you guys can see, we had that, here's your 4 hour. There's that little bit of a pullback in. This one, again, a little bit choppier. We finally burst through. We need the same thing. We need kind of a top to be put in. Something like this, where it's a decent push up at base and then a nice push away. That'll give us another short opportunity. There's not one right now, right? Because again, it is nothing. It's driving. Its impulse move is in. It's got a little bit of a correction, but that's it. All right, so we kind of need something that looks like either like this or like this here, where it's a decent push back down before we can get not only a potential short entry, but an area to turn and bounce off of to the top side. All right, so we're kind of limited on this one. This is, again, something that, you could drop down and look for something inside of like the 15-minute range or even, potentially like the, 5-minute trades. But again, 5-minute trades an hour before the market opens we're not going to find anything there. But, what I would do is I think the best trading opportunity in this one today would also be around 10 o'clock this morning. There's all this great movement up in the pre-market. You know, Look for something in this one. Look for a reversal. See if there's any levels formed, or see if there's something decent. But very hard to do this, when it's at all-time highs, especially with no like clean pullback area. Now Dow's in a little bit different of a situation. Dow is obviously not all the way back up again, and Dow coincidentally is finally. I mean, after running through the zone, it looks like we're finally going to punch out the top side of this thing. As you can see, last week we didn't do tons, right? There we go. Right? These are the two zones we were looking for. And again, we did take a bounce back and roll. So, looking at this one right now, I'm going to assume that we're going to punch through the top of this one. Yeah. So this is what, again, I'm assuming we're finally going to break this one. It's been here so many times. We've punched through it and it's held. It's due to break, right? It's due to break. So typically we would look up a bit higher, and there's a small kind of, I'm going to change the colors of this one so we can use this as a bounce. There's a level here. Come here. She's watching me play with charts now. All right, there we go. You sit here, you watch Dad play with charts. I'm going to change this to like an orange color, just so it's there so we can see it. You know what? Let's change it to something else. That's not bright enough. All right, we'll just go with the obnoxious green. I would say that there's probably a level in that area for, again, this would be kind of a reversal area. Again, it's where the gap went to. It based sideways. But you went to this phone? Your play? Go get your play and see in the other room. She calls her tablet her play. All right, here. Dad will use his phone. Here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Second. Princess wants her, here. You want to play? Here. She's big into imitating noises now. Here, you pick what you want. Go watch some Minions. Typically where we gap into is a zone, as well as where the gap formed from. So there's kind of two levels up here. The biggest thing about this one would be the timing, right? If we can get just a bit higher, and again, that's a decent run up for today, I'd be looking for some type of a reversal. Again, this one still has short potential because, again, it is not at all-time highs. What? Here. Yeah, cats and dogs. Here. If it was at an all-time high, then I would also say, hey, listen, we got to be very careful shorting this one because, again, there's nothing to really signify that, hey, sellers have stepped in. Obviously, sellers have stepped into this one. There's still room for this one to run, which gives us, again, short trades in here. So, probably something. And again, this may be one we watch on the 30-minute as well. But again, Monday morning is not the best time to do the analysis on the indices. We got to make sure we have, sellers in the market, people online, and we're just not there yet. After today would be good to kind of pick some more bottom, some better targets in this one. Okay. All right. So let's switch across to the commodities. All right. So gold. There's our kind of bounce off of gold. We're able to see it. Now, we did, again, over the weekend, most of the trades that we put on for this one, again, we're not holding these things over the weekend when nothing's there. As you can see, over the last few hours, we did have a kind of a rally back up again. We didn't get our full entry. So we got this green box was overtaken last week with the spike. We had an area here, and again, I'll drop it down to a 30-minute, right? We were looking for kind of another area. We warned that, hey, it'd been pretty close again. We were looking for it, and it basically missed, right? It came back up and pulled down. Here is where the weekend change happened. So again, this is not, we're not carrying 30-minute levels on gold over to the weekend, so we need to remove it. Right now, it is kind of pulling back into the same place that we were. As far as levels go, it's kind of like in no man's land. I mean, there was the zone here, and we just kind of missed this one, right? I would say right now, I mean, even though we've seen that dollar weakness all night, I mean, we're seeing this one already start to pull back again, showing some dollar strength. Really, it's just consolidated sideways. I mean, I would say there's absolutely no trend in this whatsoever on the hourly. So, areas that I'd be willing to kind of take some consideration into it, again, would be the 1916 level. This is the last time we kind of spiked in and we had nice buying from there. And vice versa on the top side. I mean, that's kind of the last time we really had any type of power movement in either of these two, in either direction. Again, a small piece here, we kind of got, front run a little bit off of that zone. And again, it's in the middle. It's going to happen. But for right now, guys, I'd be setting alerts, maybe 1920 and then 1980. Give yourself some bucks on either direction so you can, again, get back in time, right? I think those are the two cleanest levels as far as gold goes. And again, Jackson Hole will have some effect on this one. I think the consumer confidence number will affect it. Really, it's the next thing that's going to really drive this one is going to be any type of stimulus talk, right? And again, we've been mentioning that, but we haven't really seen it. We haven't heard about what we're going to do with the economy. Other scenarios that would really start to make gold move again would be, I don't know, like if Biden starts mentioning about how, exports are going to matter and that, we need to, have a weak dollar, to stimulate things like that. Anything about, if Biden mentions anything strong or weak, that will definitely affect things. Although that's typically not in his wheelhouse. It would be very uncommon for him to say those things. It's just not. That's just not the talk track that he focuses on. So, 188, 1988 and 1916, I think are the two levels. There's a lot of room to run into either of those two before we get there. And again, we'll see. Look at this big spike up in the morning, big spike right back down again. It's funny. We talked about this is the level we wanted to overtake, and we're all the way back up again. So funny how that one moves. So yeah. Shame we got so close to that level and just missed it. It would have been a nice little pull. Just missed it. Yeah, I would say, and right now on the near term, I would say this area here is kind of ringing right here. Right, we had a big pop up and it stabilized. A little break above that could be worth some type of a small short today. Low 1943. So again, it's something small. Silver, silver is still basing. We were unable to get that short entry in the bottom. It literally just flatlined. It went very, very slow, grounded, popped, and then we're at the same area. There is a kind of a little bit more of an aggressive trade, 27.41. We talked about this last week, saying that, hey, listen, the last time price was here, it got front run, formed a new base, came down, retested, and then dropped. Again, we still have this lower short down here. If we can break it eventually, it hasn't been close. It just stabilized. So, 27.41 is a potential target for today, or a potential entry for today if we can get it. But I would say the same thing, just like that last one, how we marked it off. I would say this one's not so much, not as much. If we can get a break and really below this, really it's kind of like this. There's a wick over wick sitting here, right? If we can get price to pull back down again, taking on something like this. There's our wick over wick. And here would be our breakthrough. Something along this line. All right. And again, this is a level that, again, wick over wick, been stabilized, been tested, came back up. It would be a break of this yellow level, a pull back to the yellow level, and then a drop down. The 1 to 5 is a little bit deep, but I think the 1 to 3 is would be a fine position there. If it drops, like I said, it may just come back and stabilize in this area again, and there's not much we can do. You can see this actually did go off the 15-minute level. We missed the 30 a bit, but it looks like there was a hidden level in the 15-minute that this ended up bringing off of. And had you been in there, you're not quite at your profit target. And again, it's a little bit low, just a tad low. It looked like that would have been a small 15-minute grab, right? All right, let me pull oil. Let's see. Trading view, oil. Let's see what we got here for our buddy oil. Oil looks like it's green today. All right, there we go. All right, so here's what we got with oil. So we saw that big fall last week. We had that one level on the top that we were waiting for bounces off of. Now, remember we talked about this level? We said, hey, listen, this is a level that we want to make sure that we take profit on because if price was able to get turned around here, there's got to be some buyers in here. And in this case, you can see exactly what happened. It went slightly lower, right? Which is okay, right? We had a profit target here. There's no shame in taking that off right near the bend. And we rallied back up again, okay? We pushed back up again. We had some basing in this level right here. We pulled back up. We grabbed this little tiny level right here and pushed back down again. So now we're back up, close to that 42.81 level that we like for a short, okay? Now, again, it is Monday. The market's not open yet. We got to wait to see what it's going to look like today. But the fact that we were back up in that area, the fact that we took a little bit of a bounce off of this little basing already, and we didn't push higher in this zone, I would have to say that I do feel like we're a little bit more bearish today with oil. Um, oil typically, oil will get mentioned at Jackson Hole later this week. Again, it is kind of a global kind of meeting, but it will probably get mentioned because weak oil, it does kind of destabilize the Middle East a little bit. It does affect Russia. It's, South America has major issues when oil is cheap. So it will probably get mentioned. It'll be more of a demand story than anything else. If demand is good, we'll be able to leave the zone finally and break higher. If demand is not so good or the forecast is not great, it's going lower. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that you guys should read the BP report that comes out semi-annually, talking about oil demand and how low they expect it to be and what the recovery is going to look like. Again, OPEC has recently changed what theirs was, and those OPEC meetings last week didn't really give us anything that was kind of, I don't know, earth-shattering, right? I didn't really hear anything. I didn't see news releases of anything kind of, anything that I would look at and be like, that's going to move, right? So right now, I have to say for the day on oil, I would say that I am probably also bearish. Again, I know in the overnight it's been kind of pushing higher. It's been stabilized really since the UK market opened. But the way we're bouncing off this upper region again, and this upper region here, I mean, there's been many, many trades taken off this level. I don't know. I'd have to say bearish today. Areas that I'd be kind of a little bit concerned are for profit taking for any type of a short. Again, this level here, we've seen price not only stabilize, but then kind of test. I would be a bit nervous about going there. And again, that is lower than what the 1 to 3 would be in this trade. But if we could break through there, again, I would say probably safe-wise, you want to make sure you're out before 41.50 or 41.60-ish area. Again, buyers have stepped in. For longs, if we're able to push back down, I think 41.28. Again, this blue area here would be a valid area where we'd be looking to go high. And again, we haven't really been able to test back to it. Pop these off. No, don't care. Right? So I think that's a valid long. But right now, I'd have to say I'm short to the downside. Let's see, how far could this actually go? That's the big question. Come to here. Our 1 to 3 is sitting a little bit past that area. It's only about 2.5, right? So I'd be a little bit concerned about that. And again, you can probably shrink that risk down a little bit. 3 for this one would be sitting right in here, which is okay. So, I mean, as you can see, all the way down is kind of a, what do we got here? It's a 5 to 1 risk to reward. So there's some movement in this one. But I'd say short oil today is probably what the call is going to be, right? Again, we need that confirmation. We need 9:30 to open. We need to see what that retail trader is thinking or believing. But based off a technical level, for me, again, this would be a short position. Again, off this same yellow level that we've used multiple times at this point. All right. So with that being said, guys, that brings us up to 8:48. I'll go ahead and start doing the contest now. We kind of flew through some of these pairs. And again, it's Monday. We don't really have as much to kind of cover here. If there's anything that, again, if you guys want me to look at anything real quick, let me know inside of chat. We can pull any stocks that you guys want. I try to say, I'm going to say try to stay away from the penny stocks in there because especially Monday morning, the analysis on a penny stock is not really going to be, it's not really beneficial at all because if you're asking about it, that means you heard something, which means it's probably going to jump this morning. But if there's any stocks you guys want, let me know and I will go ahead and look at them. Dad McGiver. That's a cool one. Welcome. R Strong, welcome to the channel as well. So guys, I will pull the contest. So everybody that's in right now, we do a contest every day. And it's for pip chips. These are my regulars in here. Again, what you do, a pip chip is just channel currency that you get by watching the channel. Some of the things you can use your pip chips for is purchasing like one-on-one mentoring. I do Zoom sessions with people where we try to go to a half hour, but it always tends to go a bit long because I just get into it and lose track of time. But we can analyze any chart that you want. We can go over strategies, market psychology, money management, anything you want, but just a one-on-one Zoom thing. So the contest does, obviously there's no monetary value. It's, but again, you can get those mentoring sessions out of it. All you have to do is do ! ticket, right? Every single person gets one ticket, one entry a day for free. So even if you've just logged in, just found the channel, you still have access to a ticket. All you have to do is do ! ticket and you get it. I love how some of those, wait, I would love to exchange some of those channel points for pip chips. It's the same thing. The channel points is the pip chips. They are the same thing. By watching it, you get pip chips. By winning this, you get more pip chips. Yes, our channel points are pip chips, Nora. It's all the same thing, my friend. All right, so I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, or another 30 seconds to get into this one. Don't see any stocks that you guys. Oh, here you go. There's one. Let's see, what do we got? Let me pull this one up. Trading View. Let's see. SPCE. Virgin Galactic. Is that what you're looking for? Spice. Let's see. On a 30-minute, it looks great. Dropping lower and lower and lower. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know what Virgin Galactic is. So areas where we would hold, I would say, is obviously we have a level here that we were holding inside of. We've been kind of running along that level right now, right? I mean, $15 is also another one. I mean, here, I'll just do the horizontal line. It's probably easier. Not horizontal ray, horizontal line. So, you can see the stabilization that also occurred here. I mean, kind of in this level, right? So those are two levels. And then even below that, you can see, look, bounce back here, bounce here, stabilization. When it went lower again, it stabilized in this level. Again, this is one of those areas that, 1540 to 1560 matter. So I would say today, I would expect that it's going to have a little bit of an issue right now, kind of going through here. Overall, the trend is definitely down. You'd be looking for pullbacks. Is this the greatest of levels to kind of bounce off of? It was a gap. So, I mean, it's a valid level. But the fact that we've just literally stabilized on top of it, that would give me a little bit of concern. On a daily level as well, you can see that this is really a full retracement back again. And again, yes, it's a gap level. Stocks are going to have gaps all the time, but I think the one that we drew is probably a little bit better of an area. If I adjust this off of a kind of a daily basis, I would say that I'd have to use this level in here, and you can see how well that one works. And that came in at 1509 to 1420. I would say where we're at now, I would use for probably grabbing your short profit, right? Because here would have been a great pullback on a daily. There would have been your pullback level, right? For a short. If you're a short, that's kind of where I would have established that's where I would have put my short in, and you would have made, there's 3.5. So your 3-to-1 is sitting right there. There was your 3-to-1 off of that entry. Right now, you're kind of at its profit level. If you want to be a bit more conservative and get long in this position, I'd say that 1509 to kind of 14. And again, we could refine that a little bit, but 1420, that would be an area where I'd be looking more to get long. And again, I'd be using a smaller option on that one. But I would say right now, it's probably going to continue to push lower. I think at least into that level for it to stabilize. All right. Have to wait for the next space off, right? SpaceX is good. I like SpaceX. I said before, best engine. I keep saying, Elon for president. I'm telling you, Elon eventually will run for president. Without a doubt, I have no doubt he's going to run for president. Going to try. All right, so we got 10 people in. I will go ahead and do the drawing. I will close the giveaway down at this point. Let's see who the winner is. And again, remember, each day we do this. Later on this week, I think it's going to be on Thursday. I'm going to throw a newsletter in there as well. Every so often, I like to give that month-long newsletter out. You guys will get it on. It comes out on Wednesdays. But we'll go ahead and do the drawing. Winner of today's drawing is Debbie. All right, Debbie has figured out how to break the system. I'm convinced. I mean, she did have 3 tickets, so she did have the most. She did have a 20% chance of winning, but Debbie has figured out how to break the system. Now, for 25 pip chips, right? For 25 pip chips. Actually, you won last time too, right, Debbie? I feel like Debbie won last time. Hold on. I'm going to mark this as complete. I remember I gave her extra last time, but we're back down to like normal things now. So let's see. Yeah. So Debbie won 3. Debbie is on number 3. So let's see. Leaderboard. But remember last time we like doubled it, so I can't do like Debbie with like 8 million pip chips because she's doing it that way. So normally you get it should be this. Right? Uh-oh. Wow. Did you guys just see what happened? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Did you? Maybe I can make it a little bigger. Did you guys just see what happened? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Right, Jin say, whoops. Whoops. What? The bird's saying, yep. Whoops. Do you guys see this? Say, hmm. I don't know if you guys can hear or not. But yeah, somebody just took over the number 2 seating. Look at that. You got one guy who hasn't been winning. He hasn't been spending his chips. He's been trying to pull the Will scenario. And again, Will is right there as well. So I don't know. Maybe Marina shared her secrets with Debbie, and that's why now she is in second place. But look at that. The girls are starting to kick some butt. And look at that. Ernest is ready to. He's like, that's it. I can't beat the women. They've figured it out. So. All right, guys. With that said, I'm out of here for today. Again, remember tomorrow will not be 8 to 9. Tomorrow is noon to 1 because, again, we have the NATX broadcast that we're doing for them. If you guys do anything today, go ahead and hit me a message on Discord. I will be in and out all day today, but, again, I'll be checking back around 10 o'clock. Look for those reversals. I think, again, I think the reversals today I think are going to turn out pretty well because we don't have any other news. All right? So, guys, you take care, and I'll catch you tomorrow.